Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our first episode. This is a bit of a trial episode for our podcast. We don't have a name yet. Maybe we'll call it Wings and Evs or something, but we'll get back to that. It's just a pilot for now. But the way it's going to work is we'll talk a little bit of international rugby. We're going to talk schools rugby. That's what Coach Wings or Carl's going to be speaking most about. And we're also going to be, and that's mostly in the border region. And then we're also going to be talking a little bit about rural rugby because I've been very involved with, trying to grow this schools rugby out in the rural areas where a lot of kids don't actually have proper access to sport. And to rugby, of course. All right, Coach Wings, let's talk a little bit about the Springbok match and the All Black match, the two big matches over the weekend. What are your thoughts? Let's start maybe with the New Zealand match.
Yeah, bro. Just coming off that loss on the weekend. The All Blacks kick back hard. Razorblade obviously got hold of his players there. But that's expected, man. I expected them to come back at the Argentinians hard. That was a massive effort from Argentina in the first test. I think your old buddy Razorblade.
Yeah.
I think New Zealand. I think New Zealand are going to be the dark horses in this competition. After last weekend's loss, because for me they're still the side that can beat anyone on their day. You know, they've got that X factor, and they showed it on the weekend. They were just too good. They scored, I don't know how many tries in the first half. It was 35 points to 5, I think, at half time, going into the half. So they completely destroyed them. Interesting. I think New Zealand's they're back on track.
Yeah, but I said I posted stuff online, whatever, saying that it was great that Argentina won, but I was expecting them to flop again the next week because it has happened. It always happens. Let's just say always, but the times that they have beaten New Zealand, the next week New Zealand always comes back and then gives them a big hiding. And I thought that some of the New Zealand commentators were saying, oh no, they could see the Argentinian guys were different after the match's time. They were kind of celebrating, but you could see they were focused on next week. How's it possible that you can have this massive change between one week and the next? And it's not that I had to travel heavily. I mean, both of these tests were played in New Zealand. Do you think he just gave them a bollocking or something?
I don't. It's international rugby, and like anything can happen on the day. Anything can happen. I think to beat the All Blacks, in New Zealand, I mean, that takes something, and I think they would have been the first team since 1994 to beat the All Blacks consecutively at home, if they had pulled off a win. I think they, like you say, you don't think traveling was a massive factor or anything like that, but I think it took a lot out of them, that first test match. It took a lot out of them. I
Yeah.
think.
Okay. Yeah, maybe it's all the emotions. You get that hangover. Like in the World Cup, we also saw it like after a big match when South Africa beat France. We also had a bit of a hangover. But before we move on, what is your opinion about the team selections? Because I honestly thought, I mean, Razor has proven himself in Super Rugby. He won, how was it, 6 or 7 on the trot? I remember going to Joburg, flying up to Joburg to watch the finals when the Lions lost. So that was a bitter spill to swallow. And this past year, I went up to Loftus as well, and we also lost, so that wasn't lekker. But I mean, I thought he would come in and make some changes because I but the team he kind of basically changed the same. Like I would have, like Rico Iani, I would have moved him to the wing. I would have gotten Will Jordan in at fullback. At Fly-Off, I would have just gone. I mean, Damian McKenzie is also good, but I would have gone with Barrett at 10, and I would have put Adi Savia at open side. I'm not so up to date with all of the number 8s that I've got, but Adi Savia was a killer open side. But you think he just went for some continuity? Would you change the All Black team to make it more potent?
I wouldn't make too many changes in that All Black side. I actually think Razor Blade has got it almost spot on with McKenzie at 10. And I like Blackadder. I like Blackadder at flank. I agree with you. Adi Sevilla is a machine open side flanker. But I think he's got a good mix, bro. I think he's got a very good mix there. I think he's got a plan with that team. I think he sees that team as close to his best. And yeah, I think I don't know. I think Razorblade has a plan, and I think that's pretty much probably his what he's going to go with.
Yeah. Okay.
Especially after the weekend.
Oh, fair enough. I would have made change, but anyway. But let's talk about the Boks quickly. So
They got the big win.
Yeah. We basically win the B team. So I kind of said that South Africa was going to lose by 3 because I've seen in the past what's happened, and I thought this was going to be the same thing. But luckily, we pulled it off. Final score was 30 points to 12. And let me just quickly go through the team just to remind the listeners who the team was. I think we had 10 changes. So we had Jan-Hendrik Wessels at 1, Grobler at 2, Thomas de Toy at 3, and then Salman Murat at 4, Nortje at 5, Van Staden at 6, de Toy. So Pieter-Steph de Toy moved from lock to flank. So he stayed in the team but just changed position, and then Lowe was at 8. Alrich Lowe, of course, from the Bulls. So he stayed there. Then at 9, again, another person, Van der Berg, or Krappies as I call him, and then Feinberg and Komizulu, he stayed at 10, which is great to see he's getting game time. He's a kind of wunderkind. I wouldn't say he had his best match. Then Lukanya at 12, Jesse Krill at 13, so he stayed. Lukanya came in as a new player, but this time at 12, usually plays at 13, of course. Colby at 14, and then Fassi at fullback, and obviously left wing was Mapimpi. And then, the back, they basically stacked with very experienced players. But anyways, we came out of this match, hell of a lot of rain there, terrible conditions, so it wasn't the greatest match to watch. But what do you think about the match, and what did you think about which players stood out for you?
Yeah, it was a slop. It wasn't a pretty game. But like Rassie says, Rassie is very satisfied with the win. The 10 out of 10 for the Boks for coming out of Australia with 10 points. And I think that's what this Bok team is about. Standouts, it was hard for me, when the guys came off the bench, you could see a massive change. I mean, you can just see the difference when Marks comes on, when Ox comes on. I think Eben was on quite early for Murat. When we bring our big boys on in the pack, Kwacha, Marco van Staden, those oaks are just on another level. But let's not take away from the fact that the Boks right now, in my opinion, we've got the best backline in the world. We've got the best outside backs in the world. I think we can put 2 back threes together. That would be the best combination in the world. So, I mean, Mapimpi, have you ever seen Mapimpi play a bad game for the Boks? That guy is just evergreen, bro. He's so good. That chippy that he chipped for Apalile, and then Fassi, there's no substitute for speed, bro. He just rounds the guy, scores in the corner. So I think in that first half, yeah, and then Colby broke through. If Sasha caught that ball, we would have scored there. I think our backline is on fire, man. Yeah, so I'd look at the backs and I'd say I'm pretty happy with that. There's no real standouts for me, but yeah, it was difficult, sloppy. I mean, it was hard for Sasha to have the game, the greatest game. That was probably a better game for Pollard to start in the wet conditions. You know, going into the future, maybe I think Tony Brown has a plan for Sasha. I think Sasha's his number one guy. Honestly, I think if we played in a Rugby World Cup final tomorrow and the conditions look good, I think he would start Sasha.
Sure.
And he would bring Pollard off the bench. That's how I feel. I think Sasha's his guy now for the next 4 years, maybe. Anything can happen in rugby, but yeah, I think that the newbies did all right. That front row, Wessels, Grobler, Thomas de Toy, yeah, you can see they're not your starters. You know, if you had your Bongi on there, and I think with the lineouts, I think we're missing a guy like Sos in there. You know, Franco Mostert calling the lineouts, always sharp. It's quite amazing how we can go over there with it is a B team, with a B team, and get the result. So I'm super chuffed. These are guys that are going to be with us for the next 4 years, and they're going to fight for their spot. You know, so they get the opportunity in Australia. It was a do or die win. Really, we needed the win to win this championship, I think, because Australia aren't at their best at the moment. If we played our A team, we would have definitely have got a win. But Rassie took that chance, so it was a do or die game. You know, if we slipped up, then we slipped up big, and he put the responsibility on their shoulders, and they got the win. So I wouldn't single out a player. I'd say that's mission accomplished for the newbies. You know.
Yeah, it's Grobler number 2. I expected maybe a little bit more from him because one thing he's got very good skills, very good basics, right? He's throwing to the lineouts, one of the best in the competition. He's good over the ball, he's mobile, he's good with offloads, those kind of things. He's not the biggest guy, but all the other stuff is really solid. But the conditions were bad, or whatever, but didn't have the best line out. We didn't have the best lineouts yesterday. Yeah, because we're recording this on a Sunday. Yeah, so yeah, I don't know what the coach is going to make about that, but I definitely think he's the the third best hooker we have. Obviously, Marks and Pongi are 1 and 2, but he's definitely, I would say, the number 3, so best of the rest. Yeah, and so with Sasha Feinberg and Ngomezulu, people have been hyping up like big time, like saying he's future player of the world player of the year, the new Dan Carter, all of these kinds of things. The fly off South Africa has never had. Do you think those things are warranted, or do you think people just need to calm down a bit?
They need to give the guy time. You know, it's he's that good, man. He's that good. Sasha's the real deal. He's that good. But there will still be there will still be times where Rassie will start Pollard and then you will start Sasha. And you've seen what happened to a lot of these young Flavs especially. And you never know what happens. This is a contact sport, you know, but if he continues to do what he's doing now, he doesn't just seem like the 10 that can play a good running game. He seems like a type of 10 that can control the game with his boot as well. He's got a big boot on him, man. And he can control the game, and he's clever, and he's so tough on defense. It's ridiculous. He's a great communicator. I think that's what you look for as a coach when you're looking for a 10. You need a guy that can bark, and Sasha barks loud. I see him talk on the field, and he's already got that like leadership, um, like ability as well. I think he's that good, but we need to give him time. We need to we still need to blood him. So you can't just, you know. But I think in the big games, like I said, I think in the big games, I think when it's a big game and it's dry out there and the conditions are good, I think Tony Brown, he sits in that uh, team selection meeting. I think he picks Sasha.
So you think he's definitely look, I think with Pollard, it's still 50-50, but I'm not sure what the plan is there. But I mean, we know how good Pollard is, but you think he's definitely ahead of Marnie now?
Yeah, he's ahead of Marnie. You see, Marnie's a great player. It's the only thing that Marnie's got that's lacking is his goal kicking at the moment, is his confidence with his boot. Other than that, for a small chap, he stands up as well. He stands up tall on defense. He's good. For me, Sasha just edges him in every department.
Okay.
So yeah, I wouldn't write Marnie off, you know, but I would say your best tens, like you say, Grobis is your third, definitely your third choice hooker. I would say we go Pollard, Sasha, and then your third choice 10 is I think it is Marnie right now. I know there's a lot of good 10s in South Africa right now. Masuku, I would have liked to have seen Masuku maybe get a run at some point to see what he can do. But yeah, I think the guys that have played in that position now have shown that they deserve to be there. They've taken the opportunity. Maybe Masuku could have come on the bench this weekend. That would have been great. But he didn't. I don't think he traveled with him.
Yeah, no, he didn't. I mean, I don't know if you saw this thing between, there's this program on Supersport, I think it was called Side Entry, but Victor
Yeah.
Matfield and Swice had a had a bit of an argument there about why Masuku should be in the team. And I mean, Matfield was right in his reasoning, in my opinion. He basically just said to him, why would you have him there? Look at his age, his experience, that kind of thing, because he's already quite old, which is unfortunate for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, but anyways,
So who was pro Masuku?
Swice,
Sways.
yeah,
Okay.
but
And Matfield not.
yeah, yeah, no. So Swice is more of a romantic, right? Yeah. Yeah, like it is like sometimes the practicalities he kind of brushes over, but he's now getting involved with who was it with the ladies rugby, eh? Swice, I think. Yeah, yeah, if I'm correct, he's
Is
going to
it?
help with the ladies, yeah, which is great because he's a very passionate guy, of course. Anyways, but I think we've covered that enough. I mean, we could go on forever, but let's quickly
Yeah,
just
you can go on.
yeah, let's talk about schools rugby, and we're talking especially border schools. Um, you guys at the end of the season now? That's correct, right? Or have you still got some
Yeah, we're
games?
done. Season's
Okay.
over. Season is over here at Whiskas. What the guys are doing now is they are playing sevens. We went to a sevens tournament at Grey High School on the weekend, Grey PE, and there was like a sevens festival there. And then this weekend coming, we are playing in the Lillyfontein sevens. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So that's quite nice. Yeah.
I didn't know that Lillefontein actually has rugby as a sport.
Oh man, dude, Lillefontein had such a brilliant season last year. They beat Dale seconds. They beat the Lillefontein's first team beat Dale's second team at Dale.
Sure, okay.
That that was a good team. That coached by a guy named Yanni Meiberg. Yanni Meiberg went to Grens, sort of around our time.
Okay.
Sort of matriculated around our time. I think a little bit older than us. And they had a really good team, like a really good team. They could they like could literally beat most co-ed schools in this area on their day. That's how good they were. I don't think they had that good of a season this year. Obviously, players and stuff, whatever, but they did really well.
All right. And just for the listeners, so you are now, you're basically the assistant coach, right? The 16A at Weskus Gymnasium, which used to be called Grens. And
Yeah,
yeah, the head coach is actually the director of rugby as well.
yeah. The head coach stepped in, or the director of rugby stepped into our under 16 setup sort of mid season, and he came in there with me. Yeah, sort of halfway through in the second half of the season. Um, yeah, so those are the players for the future, really. The guys that we have, or that we had this year, um, along with the grade 11s, which played mostly firsts and seconds this year. And he moves up to first team next year. So his name is Reinhard van Wyk. Reinhard van Wyk played in France for the past 9 years. He's got quite a CV on him with his rugby. Super knowledgeable guy. Been there, done that, you know. He's Wiskus's first team coach next year, and yeah, we look forward to that. I mean, I worked with him. I'm the guy that worked with him for half a season, and I can see that he's going to do good things. You know, we're hoping to turn results around immediately, like get good results immediately. But if you want to be realistic with a guy like that, um, you know, so long as we can keep him around, I'm sure we're going to have good results, and it's going to continue to improve. So yeah, I'm coaching seconds next year, so I'll be coaching the second team. So um, yeah, that's what we do.
Okay, okay. And so what are the major changes or things that he's brought on which is helping to improve things there at Grens? Because you were talking also about COVID and it actually having a effect on the skills of the players.
Yeah, look, firstly, we don't have a massive player base. Yeah, we've got. I don't want to give you a number, but we to give you an idea, we've got an under 14 team, which has decent amount of players now, say high 20 odds. Under 15s, we just make a side. Under 16s, we just make a side. Seconds, we just make a side. And then obviously we've got our first team. So there's not much to work with. You don't really have B teams. And obviously with the primary school coming in, with a primary school that's been built here right next to us. So it's one school now, Wiskus Gymnasium. That becomes a feeding system, a good feeding system.
And
And
that, sorry to interrupt you there,
going,
but that
yeah,
that the school is being built now. So that's a new school
yeah,
because Grens used to have a primary school like in Oxford Street or near Oxford Street
yeah,
there, but they've closed that down. It's got a different name. I actually drove past there the other day. Um, but it's called Central something school. I'm not so sure. In a city or something like that. Sorry, I have to check and I'm not 100% sure. But Nahoon Primary, which was an Afrikaans school, right, was there a connection there, or was it just West
Yeah,
Coast? Okay, just explain
yeah.
that a
Didn't
little
you
bit.
come from Nahoon? Didn't you
No,
come
no,
from Nahoon?
no, I was in
Oh, yeah,
Beaconhurst.
you were beginners. Yeah, so Nahoon Law School, they combined with Grens Primary to become Weskus. So with them combining with Grens Primary and with a new school being built, um, the whole school, high school and primary school, all under Weskus Gymnasium. Yeah.
And do you know what happened to the building where Nahoon Primary was?
There's a school in there. I believe there's a school in there. Yeah. I'm not 100% sure exactly. Also, same with with Grens Primary's former school. I'm not sure exactly who's in there. But yeah, Nahoon is now part of Weskus. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So going back to Reinhardt and what you think he will change, the difference that he makes or what he brings to the school's rugby here is not just one side. He came in sort of halfway through the season, but it's up to him now to put the structures in place. So and to develop the rugby skills of the guys. So he's not only he's not only um, um, with the first team, but he'd be helping the under 11s at the primary school, the under nines, the the under 15 guys, the myself, whatever, you know. But specific skills development is what we need. You know, we need we need that at the school to improve rugby. And going back to how you mentioned COVID and so on, yeah, it has affected. I think it definitely has affected um, how the skill set of rugby players, and I think mostly between the ages of, say, well, if I look at my guys now, the under 16s, if you look at the first team schoolboys level, like that level now, I think it affected them because at your crucial development stage of rugby, at your crucial development stage, which is probably from about 11 years old, am I right?
Yeah,
Obviously,
probably. Yeah.
prior to that. But if you're already a developed and you're a skilled player, like you're 16, 17 years old, it's going to be a lot easier to pick the game up at 20, 21 years of age. You've developed all those skills. But at at the breakdown, the tackle technique, the ball handling skills and all those things, I believe it's down. I can definitely see that the skill set of rugby players right now at schoolboy level, from first team all the way down to high school rugby in general. Let's say, put it like that, high school rugby in general. If I look at the standard of rugby, I think it's dropped slightly. And I do think COVID had a big part to play in that, but that's a story for another day. But yeah, yeah, at Weskus with my story, with my school rugby, we just looking forward to having a good season. And yeah, Reinhardt's got a lot of pressure on his shoulders to turn it around. You know how rugby is with schools. It kind of sells the school in a way. And if your
Yeah,
first team's
definitely.
doing well, your old boys want to get involved. Your there's a lot of hype around the school just because your rugby's doing well. That's who we are as South Africans. That's how it is.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah,
People know schools in Africa because of their rugby teams, more than anything else. I mean, the big school, everybody knows the big schools just because they have good rugby. Grey College, Grey PE, Paul Roos,
yeah,
Parelgem, whatever. Uh,
yeah.
uh, that's
Interesting thing. I was watching this. It's it's a show with Justin Marshall. There's another chappie there, and then they had Israel Dag. Israel Dag was like a guest on their show,
yeah, yeah,
and he was saying, uh, he was saying, yeah, I started rugby quite late in my life. I only actually started playing when I was 9 years old, and I'm thinking, dude, that's like in South Africa, that's the age that like generally where we start, or sometimes I started like 12 or 13. But for a New Zealander, they're like, oh wow, this guy started rugby at 9 years old. They start young, eh? Um,
yeah,
that's a big difference. That's a big difference. I think that's why New Zealand rugby will always be so strong because they literally start when they start walking. They got a rugby ball, man. It's
yeah.
wild.
But to be honest, I think it's Africa. It's more or less the same thing. But I will say this: the so the rural areas where I've been in the Eastern Cape, in the border region, actually, a lot of the kids are playing like soccer when they're in primary school because almost everybody I spoke to, they started playing rugby in high school, you know, for those that did have it offered, because a lot of the schools you can't play sport, or you've got to, try and find a local club or something. Um, yeah, so that was quite interesting. So I think with these areas, because as you know, I'm very interested in developing rugby in the rural areas in border. But
Yeah,
I think uh, I think you can do both sports. I think actually, because I also played soccer, believe it or not, for 3 seasons, 3 or 4 seasons, I can't remember. I think 3 seasons technically. But I actually learned a lot about balance because with football, you got to move the ball, you still got to stay balanced. Whereas rugby, you kind of, when you're sidestepping, you can lose a lot of balance. You just change your direction. But in football, you've always kind of got to stay in control. So that kind of, some of those skills are actually transferable. But definitely, I think you need to start early, of course. I think everybody knows that. So I think in these rural areas, uh, uh, the facilities is one thing, coaching is another thing, and especially at the younger age, and having just proper a kind of tournaments or leagues that they can play in. Yeah. Anyways,
yeah.
but so before we flip onto the rural rugby side, so just tell us a little bit quickly about, let's end up with this for the schools rugby for now. How did the season go in the end for your team, the under 16 A's?
Um, Topsy-turvy, yeah. Yeah, with all the challenges and everything that we've had, I think yeah, going into next year, um, we're not looking too bad. But in general, the season wasn't good. I mean, I had the boys when they were under 15. Are you talking about our first team or my boys?
Well, we can cover both. But I was asking more about the under
Okay.
16 A's, yeah.
Well, with my boys, we it's weird. We beat Craddock High School. Um, we beat Sterling. We beat Gill College. Um, I think those are the only games we won. We lost to Cambridge. We lost to basically all the co-eds here, except for beating Sterling once. Sterling actually had a great season. I think they lost to Selborne by 14 points. They beat a lot of schools. Somehow we managed to beat them. But yeah, the game that you watched against Hudson, I thought we played really well. To lose 28-14, I think, on the day, something like that. Or I can't exactly remember the score, but yeah, we didn't have the greatest season this year. I set high standards. I want to get wins and I want to be competitive, but realistically, with a player base and having not enough guys to select from, it's tough. You get one or two injuries, it makes it difficult. First team, the under 14s did really well, so it's already looking up. So the primary school, Nahoon Law School and Grens coming together, that feeding system has already proven that we're looking good. So the under 14s really had a decent season. And my good buddy Andre Engelbrecht coaches them, and he's a really good coach. He's like quite old school, and he's like really good with fitness and the basics like set pieces and so on. So they had like a really good coach to work with. And I think that's probably like your team of the year. So it shows you that when these guys come in, we're going to do well. First team, we didn't have a good season. We didn't have a really good season, but it's part and parcel of like, it's like the Australians, like rebuilding phase. That's all it is, you know. It's like Joey Smith with Australians, great coach and all that. But like Rassi said, he is the man for the job, but it's going to take some time. So yeah, Reinhardt will be with him next year, and hopefully, as a school, we can get better results. So yeah, we want to be competitive, and there's a lot of things that we're doing to make ourselves and put ourselves in a position to be competitive. The gym's just being redone, which we didn't have in the past. So it's been redone, new equipment. We trying to get the guys bulked up, protein shakes, make sure you drink your protein shake after your gym, that type of thing. So we're trying to do things more professionally, not just rock up and play.
Okay, sure. So how long has the gym existed? So it's been existed for quite a while, and then you guys just revamped it.
Revamped it, put in new equipment. We've got a guy in there, Brendan Nickelbaum. He's like the conditioning coach. He's really smart, really smart. Knows his story. So I've got all the faith in him that he'll get the guys to the standard that they need to be to play first team rugby. And
Okay.
all the sports and all the teams.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, well, just again for the listeners, so season's finished now. There will be the summer sports being played now, right? So it'll be end of this year, beginning of next year, and then the rugby season will kick off again, probably around Easter, I assume.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I just want to move over a little bit to rural border rugby. So, as you know, I'm living in the Netherlands. Actually, I came back here. I'm a little bit in transition phase now. So our company went through some difficult times, so they retrenched basically everybody in Europe, and so I'm I'm looking for a new job at the moment, but I'm back here in Eindhoven. In the Netherlands, and I was there in South Africa for 4 months, as you know, where kind of the YouTube channel started saying some growth, and made a nice couple of videos. Obviously, a few videos there from Ooskus Gymnasium, and also with Border Ladies, so one of your old school, your old pupils, doing very well with ladies
Yeah.
rugby, Eloise Webb. Yeah, but I'm still very much in contact with everybody that I met there in the rural side. So when I'm talking rural, I'm talking in kind of the Keimerhout, Morgan Bay area, which is on the border with the Wild Coast. So one of the videos that I'm going to be bringing out, I brought out one small video on Ferndale Primary School, which is like a primary school, very small school. but I'm also bringing out another video on the Siyazaka and Ikwili. So the Ikwili Primary School and Siyazaka High School, but they're on the same premises. Yeah, so they do have fields there, but they battle to maintain it. So I am trying to help kind of facilitate sport being reintroduced to that school, and yeah, to kind of help build up the system there because there's so many kids there. There's so much talent. That's one thing, but the thing that I didn't realize is how important it is to get sport into these schools because it brings kids to the school. A lot of these kids, they don't really see a reason to come to school because there's, in their minds, there's nothing exciting happening. They don't see a reason for doing it. They don't have, it's not like they have been stimulated to have aspirations, to go and, to go and do some kind of profession later in life. And I think sport's very important to keep kids in school because I chatted to a guy there who was in grade 11. So grade 11, you're supposed to be 16, turning 17. And I figured out eventually they was 20. So then he said, yeah, no, a lot of kids, they just drop away, then they come back, whatever. Also have drugs, teenage pregnancies and those kind of things. It can be pretty bad in these areas. But yeah, so all I wanted to say is basically just stay tuned to the channel for that video, and we're going to be working there to try and get something going there, and also in the region, and hopefully get some touring teams to come there. Like maybe West Crystal could be coming there, and
Of course, bro. Of course. Yeah, I love that documentary of yours that you put out of that grass. What's it? Blue skies.
yeah, grassroots to blue skies. Yeah,
Grassroots to blue skies. Um, yeah, and for the people that I've shared it with, they're like, it's like really eye-opening. Let's put it like that. It's eye-opening to see, and yeah, I remember this isn't something that you just came down from the Netherlands with this idea that after you've been retrenched. I remember you telling me that you want to do a documentary on what happens in these rural teams. I mean, how long? More than 10 years ago? I don't know. It was a damn long time ago
yeah,
that you
yeah, yeah.
decided to that you decided that you want to do it, and you came down and you finally got it done. And yeah, like you say, in that with the Sky Blues now, they've just started leveling the field and all of that, which is amazing, bro. I think you've done incredible things there to get the ball rolling. Like that's wild, man.
Yeah, yeah, bro, it's true. It's something I've been wanting to do for a very long time. I think my,
Yeah,
my dream was kind of okay, first of all, really just to go and find out what the hell's going on in some of these areas, but it was really about starting some kind of a academy because the whole idea is that every child in South Africa should have opportunity to play sport, and also that they can be identified. Because even our Olympic teams, bro, we should be doing way better in the Olympics. And
yeah,
I think something like athletics is not difficult. I mean, you just have to go around, let people run a 100-meter sprint, take some timing equipment. You have to take into consideration the surface that you can provide for them to run on, but just basically gathering data. And then other sports are a little bit more difficult, where you develop the skills and you need coach, that kind of things. But something like athletics, I think at least sprinting, yeah, I think is quite straightforward, at least to identify talent. But yeah, the Sky Blues, they've leveled the field there. I'm not yet sure on the grassing and everything, but from what I've heard, it's actually they've leveled 2 fields, as they said in the documentary. So that's very exciting. The thing with Sky
yeah,
Blues, though, is that they got some of the community that have retired and some other people that have helped there. So it's a totally kind of private thing. And yeah,
yeah.
those people have really done amazing work there in Morgan Bay to get that thing rolling. So I'm staying in contact with them. They are apparently going to take some more footage of it now being finished. I mean, I was only there. I left by the time the thing was completely done, but very exciting. Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice to see that, like, it's nice to see things happen, because I think a lot of the time people sort of see it as like a lost cause. You know what I mean? And yeah, I think with like a nice proactive approach and just getting stuck in, yeah, I think it means the world, man. These guys, yeah, with everything that you told me, I mean, with the school kids that go to school and they got nothing to look forward to after school and so on. Yeah, that's sad, man. That really is sad. Sport is the only way, or not the only way, but probably the best way. Let's put it that way. Is the best way to to basically get kids to look forward to something, to come to school, to to be active and physically fit and strong. And I mean, it's just so sad if you think that you're gonna go to school and you don't have sport to play, bro. It's just wild. So yeah, man, you got to keep up the good work, if and I want to help as well. You just got to shout.
Yeah. No, we're definitely gonna keep up going there. We also need to put border rugby back on the map. And I just want to say last year, and I think
Yeah.
we'll end off here, but so the Border Club Rugby Facebook page, you can just search on Facebook, hilarious. A lot of it is in Xhosa, so you might need a translator, but like the memes and stuff that they have there, I have to say it gives me a good laugh. Because they take the shit with a lot of the smaller teams. Because Bobby's is a big team that's always beating everybody else the whole time. They kind of make fun of the smaller teams. So it's pretty funny to check that. And you know, the Bonza region is very unique, as you know. But yeah, okay,
Yeah.
Coach Wings, I think we'll end it off there for our pilot episode. And for the listeners, thanks for listening. And hopefully we will
Yeah, man.
check you next time.